It's freezing inside this storage room. It has to be. The boxes contain prime US beef, fresh from the Nebraska prairies. A 17-ton shipment recently arrived at this Shanghai meat importer. That was before the escalation in trade tensions between China and the United States and the threat of new tariffs on US beef. The firm's boss initially feared the worst, being left with a lot of expensive meat on which he'd make little or no profit.
When we heard there might be a 25% tariff, we thought, oh no, we can't do business anymore.
His concerns have subsided, but he still faces another problem: uncertainty.
We can only make plans when trade relations between China and the United States are stable. That's why we're not totally sure how often and how much we should buy. So far we've bought 17 tons and sold 2 tons.
If it really does come to a trade war, it's going to be several more weeks before the new tariff on beef is applied. And while Yang says he feels uneasy, he will continue to import US beef because he says there'll always be demand for what he regards as a quality product. He just won't import so much of it. Instead, he'll buy more from Australia, New Zealand and Canada. Yang says that after President Xi Jinping's speech on Tuesday, he's less worried about a trade war happening now. Xi promised to deepen economic reform and to improve the business environment for foreign investors. The appetite for beef in China is being driven by the country's growing middle class. Consumption has risen more than 10% in the past 5 years. So when China lifted a 13-year ban on US imports a year ago, it was welcome news here. For many Chinese consumers, though, US beef remains an unaffordable luxury.
The American beef really doesn't have that much to do with Chinese people. How many Chinese people eat American beef? Not even 10%.
If the imported American beef suddenly becomes much more expensive, I probably will go for something else. After all, we also have good beef in China and from other countries. The American beef is not irreplaceable.
Not words the US beef industry wants to hear. Amid declining beef consumption at home, it's relying on global demand, a demand that is increasingly being led by China. Adrian Brown, Al Jazeera, Shanghai.